Greetings and welcome. This is Lisa McCardle, your inner wisdom awakener and your consciousness expander. And I am here today because it feels really important to talk about the spiritual, if you will, implications of what's happening in our world right now as this virus is making its presence known and creating an opportunity for us to transform in a lot of ways, and also wanting to acknowledge that it isn't always, and it hasn't been comfortable. So I just felt really called, actually, Spirit's been calling through me for a few days to speak to this with the information that's been coming through me. And in full transparency, I've been a little resistant because it's such a sensitive topic. And so I'm coming here with open heart to deliver some of the inspiration, some of the wisdom, we'll say, that's been coming through me from Spirit, from Source, from my Council of Light that I connect with high up there, to give us some indicators and some information. So that's what I'm going to share with you. So first and foremost, this is one of those great opportunities, my friends, for are you going to choose fear or are you going to choose faith? And remembering that fear is the great destroyer. Fear collapses. It collapses our energy body and our physical body too. So I'm going to speak to that a little bit more, but I really just want to premise, like, when fear comes up so strong in the collective, what are you choosing? Who are you choosing to be? Where is your focus going to go? So when I tune in and I ask, what is this that's happening from a higher perspective? I got a really clear indicator that this is part of our journey of awakening. And sometimes we expand through comfort and through choice. And sometimes we expand, although it's all often our choice in some way, one way or another. Sometimes we expand collectively, collaboratively. And sometimes it's not as comfortable, and that feels like that's what this is. So it's giving us an opportunity for a deeper level of transformation. And in a lot of ways, unification is what I'm seeing. So some of the information that came through is that this is they use the word expose. It's a great exposer. So interesting, because the virus is all about being exposed, right, to one another, to it itself. But I also feel like this is going to hold significant opportunity for some exposure of some, I'm going to say, outdated and some broken systems, perhaps. I foresee and forecast that all of our systems that have been established very much in the 3D are they're going to be a little wobbly. Some of them might even collapse a little bit. But remember that for anything to be reborn, it first restabilizes, deconstructs, right? I mean, even if you look at a seed in the process of its coming into bloom, it goes through a regenesis. It goes through a whole new way of being. Its whole experience kind of transforms so that life can move through. And it's the same with anything. It's the same with our systems. It's the same with our consciousness. It's the same on so many levels of what it is that how it is that we generate and become new, right? We're becoming new humans, and this is part of the pathway of that becoming, of that transformation, is what I want to say. So we'll see a lot of exposure is what I'm getting of our systems. Our financial systems already getting a little wobbly. We're going to see a lot about our healthcare systems, our government systems. A lot of our systems are up for review, let's say. And when the edges of systems get pushed is where the great reveal occurs. So we can see what we might not have been wanting to see or willing to see or able to see. So it's a great exposure. So with that being said, you can choose that transformation is a natural part of living, of growing, of expanding. So you can choose to be in fear, or you can choose to be in trust and faith. That's the main theme here. What are you choosing? So as the great reveal is happening, I will say, where some of our systems are being pushed to their edges so we can see where they are insufficient, I'm going to say, to carry us into this new consciousness, right? If we're moving from a third dimensional awareness into a fifth dimensional awareness, we must to understand that a lot of the systems that were created from the lens of the 3D. And so to morph into a new, more stable environment that aligns with the consciousness expansion that is happening, then the systems themselves have to morph. And that's part of what this is creating, as I've been shown. It's also giving us an opportunity to understand how one we really are, not just by location, right? But by sheer creation. Like, on a cellular level, we all breathe. Our cells all work in functionality the same as a human being. It does not, and here's the great reveal, right? This virus doesn't care what your color, your creed, your location, your belief systems, your religion, your testament. Like, it's a cellular situation, which shows us that this illusion of separation we have been playing in for far too long gets to have a new understanding or a new revelation or a new comprehension. Like, we really are all one. We all bleed the same. Our cells all split and reproduce, and we're all the same. And this gives us an opportunity to really see that, and really how interconnected we are, and like just how quickly something can move through us, how the connectivity of us, like the web that is us, how finite, or how deeply woven it is together. We're really connected. We really are one. So there's a lot of understanding of this. There's also some planetary ramifications. I don't remember the source. I think it was the New York Times. It might have been a week ago. These numbers have probably changed. I'm not sure what the updated one is, but the planetary ramifications, emissions were down by 25%. So just shutting down or quieting down just a few little pulses of this environment, of this human environment that we're in, it shows us how directly responsive the planet is, and how our attention to being more mindful of what we're emitting, right? What we're emitting physiologically into this planet and the ramifications of it. But also this brings me to one of the first things that is kind of like the things you must do, is that it's also about like, what are you emitting energetically? What are you emitting through your belief systems? Like, when we are in fear, our physiology collapses. Like, the body from a physiological perspective cannot heal when it's in the sympathetic, when it's in the fight or flight. Like, all systems stop and give attention and energy to the order of flight, right? So whenever we're in a hyperbolic state of fear and of anxiety and of contraction, we are activating our sympathetic or fight or flight. All of our systems shut down. The body can only heal when it's in parasympathetic. When it's in rest and digest, then the energy of the body from a physiological perspective moves into the places that are wanting to be supported and sustained at a higher level. So this is the same for your energy body. If you are running so much fear through your body, not only is your body not healing, but your energy, your light body, is also dimming, right? It's also pulling from the source of light itself into a physical healing sensation, right? So if we want to be in the greatest expansion of our light, we must take a deep breath together, and we must find that focal point of faith, of trust, of ease, of grace. We must focus on step number one. We must focus on the expansion of our light body. because it supports our physical body. It literally helps to support your immune system in expansion. You know, it's not like our energy body and our physical body are two separate entities that aren't in communion and communication. So how you do one thing is how you do everything. So I am inviting you, as step number one is to fuel your light body, to sit in light, to allow trust and faith and communion with Source to move through you so that you be, all of you here, and especially if you're watching this video, you are here to be a light filter. You are here to be a light body. You are here to help the collective through its awakening process. And this, my friends, is one step, although be it a grand step, in the process of humanity awakening in consciousness. And you have a role to play in that. Filter your light body, keep it active, keep it expanding, keep allowing your being to be a filtration of consciousness. And I use the example of, if there's a water filter, right, and the water's coming down the stream, and this filter's filtering the water, and it's business as usual. You know, the filter does what it's supposed to do, but it isn't, you know, pushed. There's not a lot of pressure to it. And then a big storm comes, and all the silt and all the debris of the river, of the stream, gets stirred up. That filtration system of water is working hard and is filled up. It's getting sometimes polluted, right? So the filter needs to be changed. It needs to be purified. It needs to be cleared so that it can keep doing its job of purifying what's coming through. Now you are here as a filtration of light, as a higher sensory light being. So you too must clear your filtration systems to be the greatest purveyor of infinite light. That's what you get to do. So care for your light body. Also, as you're doing that, please follow the standards. You know, do what you need to do for your physical body. The standards of physical care have been put out there. Do what you're called to do. Make sure that you're washing your hands, that you're not touching your face, that you're purifying your surrounding, that you're being conscious of who you're coming into contact with. Like, be aware on a physical level, but also navigate your energy body. This is where we get to understand that we're not just physical bodies having spiritual experiences, we're spiritual bodies having physical experiences, and the two are here harnessed and united together to serve at a high level. Okay, this is where that gets called into action, into frequency. So activate your light body. Zip up your energy body. When you go out, you know, if you were putting on a mask, or you were putting on gloves, or using Perel, or whatever it is that you're doing to protect your physical body, zip up your energy body, zip up your light body. You know, put your extra coverage and your extra protection and your extra wear on your energy body, just like you do your physical body. It's time that we stop thinking that these are separate entities or energies. They are one of the same. This is where this comes into activation. Also, I was given the clear indicator to stay in your presence. Don't get too far ahead of yourself. This is being called forth in always, and it has been really screaming this year, 2020. Now, you know, there's people actually being asked to stay home, to give greater presence, right? Let's stop the swirling of disconnection and lack of presence, of just swirling in the mix that we have become so accustomed to. What if the systems are needing and wanting to slow down? What if stopping the big wheel, or pausing it, or slowing down was part of our awakening? What if it was for us to have greater presence? What if slowing the mechanisms down and going inside was part of the great reveal? What if it was part of how we really positioned ourselves to become new humans? Okay, so like, this is happening outside and around us. Everyone on this planet is going to be touched by this experience in some way, because we are all more alike, we are all more similar than we are different, from our biology, our physiology, our emotional bodies, our spirit bodies, our soul consciousness, and our soul's agreements. Maybe this is an opportunity to understand that at a deeper level, to come into greater presence, to come into greater silence, to activate and ignite greater hope, greater love. I mean, really, the offset of fear is love. And it isn't a Pollyanna way of like, just go sprinkle the world with love while there's a viral threat. I'm not saying it like that. I'm saying that you get to choose in every moment how you're going to move. Be prepared, be conscious, be present. Navigate your energy body, just like you navigate your physical body and your well-being of yourself and those that you love. But take your consciousness to another level and ask what is possible here in the face of the unknown. How can I be my greatest example? How can I be my greatest frequency? How can I sustain and maintain my greatest level vibrationally? How can I be part of the cure as opposed to the disconnection of fear and instability that's moving around? It's a really personal choice and opportunity that has huge global ramifications. Like how you choose to navigate through this has significant effect on the planet at large. So I'm inspiring you, hopefully, and inviting you definitely into coming into a greater awareness of what is possible, how you're navigating and what you're choosing in any and all moments. Because you are that powerful, and we are collectively a human race, human beings. It's time for us to unify, to let the broken systems do what they need to do so they can be born anew without fear, without resistance, without holding on so tightly to something or to everything, and to move into the great unknown with an expectation that things perhaps could be better for having gone through a contraction and a rebirth than perhaps they would have been if things had stayed status quo. Just food for thought, opportunity for expansion. I want to talk too about tests. I hear often like, this is a test from the universe, or I'm being tested, or I just want to play with that a little bit. And let's turn test into a testament. Like, what is your testament? A testament's something that serves as a sign or evidence for a specific fact, event, or quality, by definition. So any testing, let's turn it into a testament for who you're willing to become, how you're willing to operate, and the light frequency that you are willing to purvey, to hold, to expand upon as it moves through you. Turn your test into a testament, and let's see how collectively we can move through this journey of becoming new humans and move through the rising of our consciousness in the best, most supported way that we can. I'm sending light, so much love to every single one of you.